AI has changed how we use content to market our businesses forever. You can legitimately do the work of an entire content department, but only if you know which tools to use and exactly how to use them. The problem is most people go to ChatGPT, type in, write me a sales email, then they get back some corporate word soup and either give up on AI or even worse, just use that bad AI content to burn their businesses to the ground. Meanwhile, businesses that understand the 10-80-10 rule that I'm about to share are quietly dominating their markets with a tiny fraction of the work. In this video, I'll show you how to use AI the right way to get expert-level copywriting for any marketing purpose, the exact tools I use to get amazing AI photos, graphics, even YouTube thumbnails like these, and how you can take advantage of the coolest AI video opportunities to make your video content 100 times more engaging and likely to get you paying clients. Now, I spend hours every single day inside these tools, and I know what AI to use for what jobs and how to use them to get the best possible results. So we're gonna start off simple, and then we can build to some of the cooler stuff a little later on in the video. All right, so it's no surprise that AI can help you write any marketing material, like emails, website content, YouTube scripts, LinkedIn posts, you name it. But here's the mistake that everyone makes. They think AI's purpose is to do all the work for them. Now, don't get me wrong, AI has gotten really good, but it's still only as good as the guidance that you give it. And no matter what you need to write, there are two basic steps to getting it right. So let's say you have some kind of recurring marketing content you need to do over and over again. Maybe it's weekly emails, or maybe it's social posts, whatever. So step one here is you want to train a specific custom GPT to be able to write that for you every single time you need it. And a custom GPT is pretty much just like your own personalized version of ChatGPT that you can teach to do specific things. So instead of being a general assistant that just knows a little about everything, a custom GPT is built to be a specialist. It can follow your exact instructions, use files that you upload as training guides, and even talk in your specific style. And here's what you need to make this work. First, gather some perfect writing samples of what you want written, how you'd want it written. So I'd recommend 3 to 5 pieces in the pretty much the exact tone and writing level that you want it to write in. So these then become your training data. So if it's writing your emails, gather up 5 of your best performing ones, or even use someone else's emails that you think are really good. If it's for your website, find a website out there that you love their tone and their copy and paste all the words of it into a Google Doc. Next, you need a document that has as much detail on your business as you can possibly give it. So it needs to know what you do and how you help people, what services you offer, what makes you special, why you got into this in the first place. It needs all of that for context so that it knows enough to write as you with your knowledge and your experience. So if you've got a website already, go ahead and copy all of it and put it into a document. And if there are any gaps in that information, just literally brain dump everything you can think of about your business into that document too. And none of it needs to be well written or even organized. It's just raw data that it can use when it needs to. But I'd be including things like, client stories, case studies, like what results that you got for people, what you did for them, all that good stuff. You should also include a really detailed brief on your ideal customer persona. So if you've not heard that term before, it's just like a profile of your most perfect customer. What do they have in common? So it's best to start out by writing everything that you already know about them, things like age, gender breakdowns. If you're B2B, what's their job title? What kind of company do they work for? Just, everything you either know applies or at least strongly think applies. And again, you're just brain dumping at this point, no real structure is needed. Then you want to feed that into ChatGPT and turn on deep research mode and tell it to research everything that it can find out about the ideal customer that you're describing. Here's the key though, you want to tell it to go to real forum sites like Quora and Reddit and review sites to pull out the actual words that they use to describe their problems, their dream outcomes, what they've tried already that didn't work, and all that decision-making criteria that they use when deciding who to go with. Then whatever it gives you back, you want to download all of that into your ideal client persona document. So now you've got the building blocks you need for your custom GPT, or you can pretty much make the same thing in Claude. The only difference is In there, it's called a project. And truthfully, I do like Claude a little bit better when it comes to writing, but either one works here. So if you're gonna use ChatGPT, go down under GPTs, click Explore, then Create. Or if you're using Claude, click Projects, New Project. From here, it's pretty much the same process. So just give it a name like email writer, then upload all the documents you created, your writing sample, your business info, and your ICP doc. Then you need a good set of instructions that tell it what to do with all this training data. Something like, you're a world-class email copywriter specializing in sales emails. When I tell you the topic for an email, use your training data to write it in my exact voice and write it to appeal to my exact customers. And once you've created your custom GPT, you can actually use it, which is the fun part, right? And remember, the instructions made it so that all you have to do to kick off the writing process is just type in your rough ideas. Again, just a brain dump here. Don't need to write it out well or organize your thoughts if you don't know how you want it yet. Just literally put in anything that you want to include. Stories from your own past experience, specific client stories that help make your points. That's the kind of stuff that's going to make the final output feel human and personal. This is what I call the 10-80-10 rule. So if you just do 10% of the prep work up front, that's your ideas, stories, key points. Then you can let AI do the 80%. That's pretty much all the heavy lifting of structuring and actually writing. Then you just come back to add the final 10%, which is your personality touches and final edits. I love this method because you can make custom GPTs like this for pretty much every single thing you ever need written in your business. Have one for your website, one for emails, one for whatever social media you focus on. Once these are set up, you're basically getting on-demand, custom-written marketing in minutes instead of hours. But content marketing is not just about the writing, and luckily AI can help you create more visual things like images for your website that show that happy aftermath that your clients feel after working with you, eye-catching social media graphics, even YouTube thumbnails that get people excited enough to click. And there are a ton of AI image generators out there, but there are 4 that I use all the time for different kinds of content. So let me just show you what I like to use for what purpose. And let's start with the one that you probably heard a lot about lately. It's Google Gemini's image tool, which somehow got the code name Nano Banana, and that's still what people are calling it. And this is pretty amazing for things like social media graphics, including photos or illustrations. So let's say you wrote a LinkedIn post, and honestly, this could literally be for anything though, so don't get too hung up on this one use case. I want you just to be thinking about, okay, what could I use this for me? LinkedIn's just the example here. So you could literally paste the entire post text right into Nano Banana and ask it to make you an accompanying graphic in whatever style you ask for. And it also does a pretty good job of creating consistent characters. So if you wanted a great headshot of yourself, either for social or your About Us page, but all you have is some grainy photo from 5 years ago, all you have to do is attach that old photo and have it make something better with it. Just tell it what you want. Maybe you want a photo of you looking friendly working with a client. And what it gives you back may not fool your mom or wife or husband, but it does a really good job. And most people who know you more casually won't be able to tell that it's not you. Next, Ideogram is amazing at doing anything with text and making it look creative and colorful. So I've used this for a ton of ebook and lead magnet covers, but you could also do those social posts that are pretty text heavy. Basically anything where words are part of the design. So let's say you want to build your email list with a lead magnet. So it definitely helps to show a cover of that lead magnet to make it feel more special, like it's a nice little package. And you used to have to hire someone for this. I know I did that quite a few times on Fiverr, and honestly, the results you'd get with an affordable designer were just usually pretty mid at best. But now, whenever I do a lead magnet, it's just as easy as telling it the title and the style you want and just letting it go. And they always look like 10 times better than I ever got from Fiverr. You can even say you want it on a mocked up document or an iPad on a desk or an iPad that someone's holding. Suddenly, your simple PDF looks like a professional product and way more people are gonna wanna download that. But for more straightforward website images, I like to use Midjourney instead. It's really easy to use and to customize and just get tons of options really fast. And what actually works best on most service business websites is showing that happy after state, after your client's gotten the results that you promised them. So all you really have to do is be able to describe your best client along with descriptive words like happy, natural, and candid. Because these kind of photos do work best if they feel like it's a real moment captured in time rather than a posed smiling at the camera type shot. So if you're a career coach, try something like, 45-year-old male executive dressed in business casual attire, happily walking out of a job interview that went well. Natural lighting, candid. And here's a little pro tip to add to the end of it. So it's a simple code, just do --R and then 3 or 4. So that's gonna give you 3 or 4 times the generations at once. Because normally it gives you 4 separate images every time you run a prompt. So this multiplies it by 3 or 4. So you get a ton of options all at once, which just saves you a lot of time and gives you more to choose from. And honestly, all of these look completely realistic. I would not pick any of these out as being AI generated, would you? But, even if you don't like any, it's fine, just make more, I would just get more descriptive with the prompt to try to get a little closer to what you were going for and then try it again. And you can do this for all the images on your site. Just make sure that the style stays pretty consistent from image to image for the best results. And to do that, I just like to use the code --raw, which tells it to, not make it stylized so that none of them have any kind of a specific filter that's gonna make it hard to match. So when we talk about content marketing in 2026, you know that to me, that mostly means YouTube videos, and thumbnails are a huge part of getting your videos seen, but they're super hard to do right, even if you're a good designer. This tool is called Pixels, and it just specializes in YouTube thumbnails. That's it. And yeah, some people are trying to use Nano Banana or Google's image generator for thumbnails, but this is generally the kind of thing you get there. Not very clickable, is it? And those tools still struggle a lot with giving you thumbnails that are even the right dimensions. So in my opinion, they're pretty unusable for this, but Pixels gives you ones more like these, which are just way better. And the really cool part here is it lets you upload up to 20 training photos of yourself so that it's gonna do way better with making you look like you're in the thumbnail and have it look convincing. So the first thing you want to do here is upload, like 20 photos of yourself, making different facial expressions and preferably different angles of your face too. Then once you've done the training part, they give you 2 main ways of making a thumbnail. First, you can just use a text prompt. So turn on your persona so that it knows to put you in it, that's important, and then just tell it what you want to be in the thumbnail. And this can give you some really great looking ones, but sometimes it's best to actually base it on a concept that's already been proven to work. For that, you want to use the recreate feature. So just paste in the link to an existing YouTube video whose thumbnail you want to mimic, and then use the text field to request whatever changes you want to make to it. Maybe you're holding something different or the text is different, colors, whatever. Now, you might be wondering, is this copying and is it allowed? And it's a gray area, and like it or not, this is pretty widely accepted as being acceptable in the YouTube community at this point. Just about every big YouTuber does it to some degree. And thumbnail expert Patty Galloway, he's actually really big in the space, he talks about this as ethically stealing, meaning you're not so much ripping off someone's artwork as you're just taking what's proven to work for one channel and putting your own spin on it. There's honestly no such thing as copywriting a concept, and once you've made your changes and the software has made its changes, because honestly it doesn't ever really give you an exact duplicate of the original anyway, there's always differences, so it's up to you if you want to go this route. But while we're on the subject of video content, video is the best way to market any business in 2026, and that's not likely going to change. And AI video is really good now, like scary good. So I want to show you 2 really cool ways that you can use AI video in your marketing that doesn't fall into that, AI slop trap. Now, what I'm not suggesting here is to use AI to replace you on video. The tech just isn't that good yet. And even if it ever gets that good, there'd always still be that missing spark that would make your viewers really fall in love with you and trust you which is the whole point of video marketing in the first place. So AI should never be the cake in your videos, but it can definitely be the icing. In other words, you can take your simple talking head videos to the next level with really custom looking B-roll and motion graphics that just make your videos feel a little more special. So first, let's talk about using Sora 2 for custom B-roll starring you. And if you don't know the term B-roll, it's just little clips like these that you can edit into your videos to make them more interesting to look at. And they also let you do something really important, which is this concept of visual storytelling. And sure, you could buy, stock footage clips or use AI to make generic clips like these, but they don't feel very special, do they? Because they just look like you paid $5 to buy them. But a few years ago, I fell in love with this guy, Matt Diavella's videos, because of all the amazing B-roll he uses of just himself doing various things in his videos that he just lays on top of his talking head stuff. It's a really clever way of making your videos feel more premium and personal without all of that Mr. Beast style hard cuts and flying text and graphics. It holds interest, but it still feels calm. And I actually did a whole B-roll day with one of my friends a few months ago where he shot me doing all these random things that I could just then use however I want. You've probably seen some of these clips in my videos. But maybe you don't have a videographer friend, right? And you don't want to learn how to do all this yourself, you don't want to take the time. But the bigger thing is, what if you ever need something super specific that you didn't capture that day, right? I don't want to constantly be out shooting new B-roll clips, and you probably don't either. So you probably see where this is all going since this is an AI-related video. Yes, as of today, AI can do it for you, and the easiest and I think most convincing way is through the Sora 2 app by creating what they call a cameo. You just record yourself saying a couple numbers and moving your head where it tells you to, and then after that, you can have it make B-roll of you doing just about anything that you can think of. So if you're telling a story about you working with a client, make a clip of you working with the client. You can make clips of you working late into the night at a diner or walking with your dog on the beach or any weird, super specific shot that helps your words come to life.
Even do interesting transition shots of you saying a specific line anywhere, doing anything. But sometimes the speaking gives away that it's AI. I mean, this isn't terrible, but I'm obviously not the real Wes.
But while we're on the subject of talking AI video clips, there is one content type where they can really shine because they're not meant to stand in for you or for anyone the audience is already familiar with. I'm talking about turning your simple text-based testimonials into video. Now, before I show you how to do this, I do need to warn you that it walks a fine line and you have to be careful about how you approach it. You should always call it out that you turned a real written testimonial into video with a small disclaimer, something like, real customer words portrayed by AI, something like that. Just give Sora a, general description of the speaker, and no, it does not necessarily have to look like the original person. In fact, it's probably best not to try to recreate a real person like that without their consent, so I would just keep this a lot more general. Tell it to be natural in the delivery, but somewhat happy or excited without being over the top. I'd even ask for it to be filmed like on a webcam or something. That's gonna make it feel much more realistic. And fair warning, it may take you a few tries to get it how you want it. The main thing is, you want it to feel 100% authentic, or I wouldn't even bother using it. And you can use this kind of video on social media, on your website, or even in paid ads. Just remember, always disclose that it's AI. So how else can AI help you with your video content? Well, I've got 5 AI workflows that I've been using for the past year or so that have really cut down on how much time that I have to spend on YouTube, and I can't wait to share them all with you. So just click right here, and I'm gonna show you exactly how AI helps me in every part of my video process. Everything from coming up with the right topics to research, to scripting, thumbnails, all of it. So click right here, and I'm gonna show it all to you.